Hello everyone. Welcome back to the second episode of our Oracle database installation. And we have installed Oracle yesterday, and you can follow the previous video if you want. How did you install that? But then today we are going to see how to connect to Oracle database, the one that we installed, and what are the process that you need to understand. Before we go there, let's understand a bit what is Oracle 19c, how it is different from the previous version, Oracle 12c. So we'll actually go through these topics, understanding a bit of its architecture. Then I will explain what is the concept called a pluggable database and then containerized database. What's the difference between them, why it is needed. Then how to connect via SQL Plus and SQL Developer. So if you look at this picture, what you see here is a simple architecture of our Oracle database. And then on the top, we see called CDB. This stands for containerized database. So the difference or the feature that Oracle 19c is providing, that it has now provided you a containerized application, which is easy to maintain, easy to scale up. It's easy. Basically, it is aligning to the cloud standard. So when we install a particular database, we actually install a container, and inside that container, you have so many other small little database that are pluggable in nature. So the top one is called CDB, and within CDB, you get multiple pluggable database. So one CBD can have multiple pluggable database, and each database has got its own control file, data file, T2 file, others, archive, flashback. These are the basic things that it's needed. I hope this architecture now makes sense. So, so as we have created a CDB, we must be able to connect that, right? So what we are going to see that how do we connect to this database? And for that, first we will try to connect via SQL Plus. So you will have SQL Plus in your system installed as you installed Oracle database. So you can search here, otherwise you can see the bin directory to find SQL Plus. So we'll connect via sysdb. Okay, so we are connected. So what we will see that, how do you know that? Okay, now we are really connected to the CDB or the root directory. So you can check the connection name. So you can say, show me the connection. So if you show the connection, you will find the connection name, which is basically the root directory, right? CDB root. Can you see this picture? You're actually having CDB root here. So you are landed here. So now this is a space at a root level. And now we will probably like to create tables and continue to do our work. So let's try to connect a table. Create table, for instance, the table one, let's say column one, let's say number. See if it is allowing us to create table. Yes, table is created. That means we can now continue to work as sysdba. But is it a standard practice that we use? No, because sysdba is a very specialized, highly privileged account that is not meant for development. So how are you going to continue to do the development? So that is where they have provided you these small little containers under which we can host our tables. And these small containers are called pluggable database. It was not the case earlier. Okay. So each pluggable database has got their own individual control files, individual operation to maintain the integrity. Okay. So the next question is, do you have a pluggable database as you installed something? Did you create anything? Okay, so to answer that question, let's see what we have done in our previous session. So this is one of those steps, if you remember, We typically, when we install this, we actually get this form. Now it's very important to observe this particular thing. We have Oracle database, and then we have a pluggable database. Can you see that? Pluggable database name, ORCLPDB. And we would like to see whether this pluggable database is existing or not. Okay, so before I go there, I would really probably see, okay, can I really create some user on this database and probably some test user, and I can give those test user to others to use. Why should I go and connect the pluggable database? So let's see if I can create a test user. So if I go and create a test user, it is not allowing. It doesn't allow to create a user on a root level. So what must we do? We must create user for those pluggable database. And before that, pluggable database must exist. Okay. We'll go and create and see that particular one. But before that, as I said, let's see, can we connect to this particular database using sysdba via SQL Developer? So let's go, and I've already opened a session for SQL Developer. So where do you get the SQL Developer? If you go and under your under your uh, under your driver, or so this is where I've got my SQL Developer. You can download it from Oracle website, unzip and use it. As I open it, I will try to connect right to the database. Okay, so I will use sysdba to connect to this particular database that I have created. So let's do that. Sysdba, and what's the password? The password is the same password that we have given to. Okay, so what's the service name? How do we know the service name? So the service name is nothing but this one. This is the global database name that you need to provide, ORCL. This is where we sometimes get confused. ORCL and test. Oh, it doesn't work. Okay, this is because you have to choose this DBA. These are not default roles. These are customized roles. So let's test it now. It again failed. If I type the password. Okay, I think the username should be sys. Yeah, success. So now we have connected to this particular sys database and to the root level basically. So if I save connection, connect. So let's say sys. Right. So under sys connection, as I said, that we have actually created the, let's answer our previous question. We have now connected by sys to this global database, but under this we have created a pluggable database, right? We must be able to connect to this pluggable database. But to do that, first we have to check two things: whether this pluggable database is really there or not. So we can fire this small little query, which is going to tell you which are the pluggable database that you have got. Okay. So if you select this, you will see that you have got two databases. This is the same database ORCLPDB that we have created in our previous session. This is the database that we have created earlier, and I can see that. And there is another database which is called PDB seed. Wait, what is this? Have we ever seen it? Let's see the architecture. If you go back, do you see that this root, as I saw that connection name, I get this name, but then this is a seed. So this is another default one that gets created. So we created one PDB pluggable database as we created the install the database itself, and then this comes by default. So now that is why when we query this particular view, you get to see these two databases. Hope this clarifies the complete understanding of this architect and how do we see it. So now what is next step? Our next step is to you connect to this PDB and then create user so that we can actually connect to this PDB, right? So how to do that? So we have to first we have to connect to this container, right? So to do this connection, let's go and press alter session. Now we are here. Now we are in the container. Previously it was not allowing us to create user. Now let's fire the same query, right? Let's fire the same query. Is it allowing? Yes. Now you see the user is created. So we know the username is test user. Now we'll go into the SQL developer and we'll create another connection. Test DB, the username and password is same, and the service name. Now, can you guess what should be the service name? The service name would be the same container that we have created, because I am not going to connect to root. I am going to connect to the pluggable database. So I must give CLPDB, and this is the difference. But it is saying something that it lacks the create session. For that matter, we have to provide the user the permission. So I hope I didn't copy it properly. Oh, I think I copied the wrong one. Okay. So now the grant is succeeded. Let's test the connection. See, success. So this is what we understood then, that we first created CSDBA and we know how to connect what should be the service name, which is ORCL. Then we switch to the pluggable database. Now you understand the difference, I hope. Then we created a user, gave them the permission. Now if we actually now see the connection, you can see the connection that it is, we are now in ORCLPT. So from now onwards, you can create another user, whatever user you want, you can create them. If you want, you can create another pluggable database, and this can be used across multiple purpose. One can be production, one can be test, dev. So the maintainability becomes very easier. I hope this makes sense now, that why we need a pluggable database, what's the difference, how to connect to all of them. Okay, so thanks for watching the video. If you like it, please do like the video. Thank you very much.